This is Radio Romania International. You are listening to our one-hour broadcast in English for listeners in Western Europe and Africa. We can also be heard on the internet at www.rri.ro, Channel 1. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and other social media platforms. Our programs are also available on TuneIn and via satellite Eutelsat 16A on 11,512 MHz vertical polarization, azimuth 16 degrees east. Symbol rate 29,950 megasymbols per second. Standard DVB as 2. Modulation 8 PSK. Audio PID 510. We wish you good reception conditions.
Hello, I'm Cristina Mateescu with the news. First, the headlines. The funeral of Queen Elizabeth II is taking place today, with Romania being represented by President Klaus Iohannis and Her Majesty Margareta, the custodian of the Crown of Romania. The ruling coalition is discussing further measures to counteract the effects of the energy crisis, and the Special Parliamentary Committee for the Justice Laws will give a final vote on the bill on the organization and running of the Superior Council of Magistracy. The funeral of Queen Elizabeth II is taking place today in London. Around 2,000 persons were invited to attend the ceremonies, including 500 foreign heads of state and government and dignitaries, such as the monarchs of Belgium, the Netherlands and Spain, Emperor Naruhito of Japan, the presidents of the United States and France, Joe Biden and Emmanuel Macron, and the president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. Romania's President Klaus Iohannis and Her Majesty Margareta, the custodian of the Crown of Romania, and Prince Consort Radu, as well as Princess Elena, are also attending. In the last few days, thousands of people have waited in long queues to say farewell to the Queen. The Queen's coffin is taken to Westminster Abbey for a service, which includes a reading from British Prime Minister Liz Truss. Details of the service, including the hymns, were chosen by the Queen herself. The coffin will then be taken in a procession towards the Wellington Arch, with Big Ben set to ring once a minute. No planes will fly over London. The Queen will be buried at Windsor Castle next to her husband, Prince Philip. The ruling coalition in Romania is today holding a new meeting during which it may decide to maintain the cap of 50 bani per 1 litre of fuel beyond the end of the month. The authorities are preparing measures to save energy in the context of a drop in deliveries of natural gas from Russia and efforts to reduce energy dependence. Prime Minister Nicolae Ciucă said the government is considering a program to encourage the replacement of light bulbs with more efficient ones. Each ministry will also be required to present a plan of measures to reduce energy waste. Meanwhile, Romania has reached the minimum 80% gas storage level required by the European Union. Across the Union, this level is 84%. In another move, the National Institute for Statistics said Romania imported over 1.3 million tons of oil equivalent in the first 7 months of the year, accounting for 17% less than in the same period last year. A special parliamentary committee for the justice laws is today giving a final vote on a bill regulating the functioning and running of the Superior Council of Magistracy. During the debates on the articles of the bill, which were rushed through in a marathon two-day meeting, only a few of the almost 600 amendments proposed were adopted. The opposition says the new legislation makes the judiciary vulnerable to political influence and asks for the bills not to be passed until an opinion is received from the Venice Commission, which the Save Romania Union has requested. Justice Minister Cătălin Predoiu says the legislation was drafted taking into account the opinion of the Venice Commission. The bill on judicial organization is the next from the package of justice laws to be debated by the Special Parliamentary Committee. The last final of the Georgianescu International Competition came to an end in Bucharest. Alexandra Segal from Israel won the first place in the piano competition. The young Benjamin Krithoff from Luxembourg won the cello competition, and Romania's Maria Marica won the violin competition. The winners of the composition section were South Korea's Shin Kim for symphonic music and Italy's Leonardo Marino for chamber music. The UNESCO competition was held this year under the motto The Music of Hope and marked the return to concert halls after events were held either fully or partly online for 2 years. The weather is very cold in Romania for this time of the year, especially in the west, north and center. Snow was also reported at altitudes of over 1,600 meters. The highs of the day are between 10 and 25 degrees Celsius, with 19 in Bucharest at noon. Following Sunday's strong winds in Romania, the country's electricity demand was largely covered by wind power, according to a social media post by the National Energy System. Over 40% of the country's energy production was generated by wind, 20% by nuclear sources, and 13% by hydropower. And that was the news.